Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tony Cardenas, and this is Carmel Social Media Podcast. And we're getting ready to go over the real estate here in the Hamilton County area. And I'm sitting here with Shelly Walters with eXp Realty in Carmel, Indiana, and Kyle Morris with F.C.Tucker, two top agents that sell a lot of property in the Hamilton County, Indy North area. Shelly, I would like to go over the stats for Carmel and Westfield. Kind of give us an update on that. How are you doing today, Shelly?
I'm doing great, Tony. Thanks. And the actives that hit Carmel in the past 7 days, there were 10. No new builds coming on the market or being told about that could come on the market. So that's not very much. Again, $204,000 to $1.3 million, and we currently have pending of 154. And those pending numbers are just seem to be staying the same and solid. And
That's a lot of construction, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Let me ask you a question. When you say 10, that's just 10 brand new listings in the last, am I talking 7 days?
Yeah, past 7 days, 10 hit the market. Now, that was as of this morning.
No, I know it can change in the next 2 hours.
So, yeah, and that's, just where we are. In Westfield, there were only 6. But if you look at that, truly, there were only 4 resales that hit the market in Westfield because 2 are new builds that are not even out of the ground yet. They're just, here's a lot and you could purchase this house here. So that is anywhere between $344,000 to $1.7 in Westfield with pending 185. So we have a ton of pending homes just staying on the pendings, and it's a lot of the new builds.
Let's see if Kyle has better information than you. Kyle, what do we got in Noblesville this week?
Noblesville is actually worse information.
Really? So what is it?
So there's only 4 new homes on the market in the past week from Tuesday to Tuesday. The price range is $309 all the way up to $800,000.
Wow.
One of them I really like because it has a chicken coop and it's on some farmlands, like 7 acres. I sent it to my wife, so we'll see how that turns out. But
update us next week.
Yeah, I will. Hopefully that's one of the pendings. But
so there's not a lot of news in Noblesville. But let's talk about Fishers.
So Fishers is actually, it has 8. So talking to what Shelly was talking about, so I ran it this morning and there were 7. We double checked it when we were here and it was 8. So something new had gone on the market. But even then, of those 8, 2 of those are condos, right? So, and their price ranges were $265 to $899. So pretty similar price ranges for Noblesville and Fishers, but 4 new homes, 8 new homes in a week.
Well, the market's getting ready to hopefully bust loose. There's a lot of contingency factors right now. You got interest rates going up. But the one thing that I really want to talk about today, and our great friend and one of our hosts here, along with Shelly and Kyle, is Greg Cooper. And he's not here. He's out on a listing appointment today. But we're talking about getting your home ready for the market. And I said to Greg, I said, give me your top 3 things that somebody needs to do. And he said, hey, the first thing you got to do in any home before you sell it is declutter the inside. Just declutter it, get the stuff out of there, get it arranged properly. He says, you don't have to paint, you don't have to do the carpet in most cases, but declutter. And I said, well, Greg, what's the second thing? He goes, you got to clean up the yard. You got to make the exterior look nice. So somebody wants to drive up there and say, this could be a nice place to live. And then I said, Greg, what's the third? And something that he told me that I hate doing every year. He goes, if you're going to sell your house now, he goes, get the mulch done. It makes a big presentation on a home, especially after you get the yard cleaned up. And he goes, you got to get rid of all that winter clutter so the house can be presentable because, there's not a lot of inventory out here. Now, would I buy a house that's the yard's a little messed up? I would, because I know I can go in there and do it. But I think decluttering everything and getting the house cleaned up inside and out really makes it a lot easier for everybody. And obviously the person selling the home.
Yeah. And one of the things I always learned way back, I actually do also own a staging company. And one of the things we talk about, you need to declutter. And the main reason that's very important is because if a buyer walks in and sees clutter, the first thing in their mind is, there's not enough storage in this house. Look at the stuff they can't put away.
Yeah.
So, and then they're like always asking, what about the closets? And I'm like, yes, because if I open up a closet, which, my house, I'm not going on the market anytime soon. You don't want to open where my towels are. If they fall out or whatever.
Right,
It's a
I got
mess.
you.
But if you're going to put your house on the market, when I open the closet there, I want to see it really tidy and look like it's a great store shelf on display because it makes the person feel like there's enough storage here.
Right.
And that's an issue for people a big time, especially families.
It absolutely is. I mean, if you came into my house right now, it would be a complete nightmare. My wife wouldn't even let it happen, right? But I will
Don't
say,
blame your wife.
Yeah, don't blame your wife, Kyle.
All right, that went poorly. So I think the interesting thing to me
Right.
though is honestly warmth, right? So you're talking about decluttering. We're talking about outside, cleaning up outside. You're going from winter, we're going into spring. I also agree with the mulch piece. I think one of the biggest things to create warmth is lighting, decluttering, and I also think outside. So I think the reason mulch works is as you have all these spring flowers popping up,
Yep.
and then you lay the mulch down, there's a huge color contrast for when somebody first walks in and they get the first presentation on it, right? And then you continue that as you go into the house. I think that plays a huge role in the connection that is created with the house. And like that is part of it. I know we're in a seller's market and a house is going to sell for the most part, regardless. But what you actually take home for it 100% matters on the emotional connection that you create with your potential buyers.
Well, and also the standard is they say that within the first 3 seconds, a person has made a decision whether or not they want to buy the house.
You really think that's true? 3 seconds.
I've seen buyers
I don't
do it.
know.
I've seen buyers drive up and say, I don't want to see the house because it's a mess outside.
Definitely seen that.
And
Yeah,
they wonder how, if they can't take care of the outside, I don't want to see the inside. So you never know when that potential buyer is going to have an aversion to the house.
I got
so
you.
take away as many aversions as you possibly can. And we're here to tell you a list of what we think. And there is nothing like seeing a house in March with mulch and all nice, because the rest of the neighborhood looks like crap. Your house is going to pop. It's
That's
going to
right.
look wonderful. And when they're driving down the street, mulch is awesome. It's amazing what mulch can do.
Even the smell. You
Yeah.
wouldn't think like just the smell
people
of
feel like
it does. It's
spring.
like, hey, we're almost there. Let's do this. Let's get excited. They start to picture themselves already there in the summer and doing cookouts and all these things. And it's all these things that really do help sell a house, regardless of the market, in my opinion.
Well, the other thing too is if you have a dog, especially a big dog, you need to clean up your backyard. That is a huge
Yeah.
turn off to buyers. I mean, there's just so many little things that
Sure.
matter. But when you
They
talk
add
about a bunch of, yes, if you talk about a bunch of little things, if you don't do all 10 of those, in the end, that could be I mean, we're talking about prices today going above list. Obviously they do. But there's always a ceiling of a buyer's mentality of what they want to pay for that house. So if it's clean and pretty and decluttered and they just get a good cozy feeling like you were saying, they might get another $10,000 on top of it for not doing it. So even in today's market, if you do not get your house ready, you're losing money.
It will cost you. And we literally go in and do everything we can to get rid of all the little things because, we represent enough buyers, as do you, as does Greg. I know what buyers are looking at when they walk in a house. I see them point out the certain things that everybody looks at and what will bring the eye. And usually what I deal with is people see something negative, they start to notice more negative,
Mhm.
right? Or if they see something positive, they start to notice more positive. For me as a buyer's agent, I want to point out the opposite a little bit to keep everybody baseline. But as a selling agent, when you're listing, I'm completely opposite of that. I'm trying to get rid of any of these little things that I think will start to divert the eye to other little things, right?
Gotcha.
Because every homeowner thinks that there's going to be this one thing that everybody notices when you never even make it to that, right? Like it's their house, so they notice this one thing. But if you go in and you do these little touch-ups, the people who come in may not notice that you have this dated towel rack or whatever it is because they've fallen in love with all the other positives.
Yeah, well,
Right.
and that's the problem when you walk in the front door, and if there's anything, especially right at the front of the entrance, the door needs restained or needs painted, or you need to brush the cobwebs off. The mentality from a buyer
Just
is
little tiny things add up to be a great big plus if you
it
do.
sets their mind precedent before they open the front door.
Right.
So now they're in the entryway, and now they see maybe chipped paint right there. Then now they've seen 2 negative things. So now they're going, this house isn't taken very good care of. Let's see how bad it is as we walk around.
Right,
Instead
gotcha.
of, oh my God, it's such a great front door. It's nicely, stained and everything like that. So you're changing their positive or negative attitude right away.
Correct.
Well, let's talk about another side of the fence right now. Mortgage rates nationally right now are about 3.90%, okay, on a 30-year fixed. And the 15s right anywhere from 3.25 to 3.5. And all that is subject to what you're putting down and what your credit score is. So this is a national average right now. But the biggest thing is interest rates are going up. Okay. So when this inventory comes available, like you guys are getting a house ready, these people need to buy a house, lock in, and be done. That's for the buyer and the seller right now. It seems to me, if I was listing my home, I really wouldn't wait until April 1st for like the week of spring break, when the weather gets better. I would be listing my home right now because there's hardly any inventory and it would turn and sell quick. Now, I don't know what the people are going to do after they sell their home, but the bottom line is it would say to me that they're probably going to get a pretty decent price for their house right now versus when all the inventory comes on.
Well, not just that. So you could, I don't know about Shelly, but like you can feel the market vibrating as it's about to burst open again. Like this is how it felt kind of like in March of last year, except for it's doing it even earlier. But to your point, there's so little on the market, which we just went over on the stats.
Right.
And you bring up the point of like, you may not even be able to find a place. But if you're listing when nobody else is on the market, your leverage as a seller to be able to have maybe some post-closing possession or whatever it may be to actually find that property when there's less inventory, you have more leverage.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the other thing too is Kyle and I both know how to make sure that a seller does not go homeless. And if they are looking at another house and they can't find it, there's a lot of ways we know how to make sure that they get their house sold, know it's sold. Now they have a non-contingency to sell. When they want to go buy, they can check the mark of no contingency. It works all day long, every day, because buyers need a house and they will give the seller what they need so they can purchase that home. And I mean, really, to me, I look at it as it's so much more plannable, if that's a word, because they know they have the house bought. The sellers know they have their house sold. Now we can all think about in the next 30 to 60 days, here's our next steps. Whereas, in the old days, you buy and sell in 30 days, you get the heck out. It's really fast. This way people can take a breath and go a little slower, and everybody's doing fine with this.
And they know the numbers better of what they can write for their own competitive offer. Because that's a lot of the fear involved is, okay, so I may have to bring extra money over list. What is that number? What number can we do? And we're dipping into a retirement account. But if you do it this way, you have a better idea what you can do.
You know what you got for your house and how much money you now have to spend. Whereas would it be really sad that if they got so much more for their house, by chance, and thought, we could have had the other house.
Right. Well, those kind of things happen. But, back to the mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are on the climb right now. And if anybody's thinking about getting a mortgage, reach out to PRMG Mortgage, Greg Evans at 317-590-6546. That's PRMG Mortgage here in Carmel, Indiana, that sponsored this show. And then, Shelly, where can they reach you at eXp Realty in Carmel?
You can reach me on my cell phone at 317-201-2601.
And then Kyle with F.C.Tucker, okay, you work 7 days a week or 8 days a week?
I work 10 days a week.
Okay, 10 days a week. Kyle, how can a customer, if they say, hey, I want you to come by and look at my house, list my house, I got an idea, I may want to be a first-time home buyer, how can they actually get a hold of you 7 days a week?
Just call or text 317-649-5122. I basically am neurotic and answer almost immediately on every single thing.
Okay, now Cooper normally wants people to text him between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning, but we're not going to give his number out today. Okay, they're going to have to ask us for his number. But Shelly, any last words if you're going out to look at a home this week?
No, again, like you've said, we've kind of touched on here is if you're thinking of selling, it's not too soon.
Well, hey, next week we're going to be talking about luxury real estate. Okay, we're going to be talking about homes from, let's say, 750,000 up to about 2.5 million. I know there's not a lot of inventory out there like that. And in a couple of weeks, I got Gary Nance coming from Gary Nance Design on custom homes. And we're going to talk about that type of feel right now. And I know that's limited. We're going to mix that in with the other couple surprises that we got. But Shelly, thank you for being on the show. Kyle, thank you for being on the show today. And I hope you guys sell a lot of real estate. And take us out, Shelly.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. And you guys have a great day and a great week.
Hi, everybody. Greg Cooper. Sorry I missed this episode of our podcast. We always have a great time doing it. It had nothing to do, me being gone, with the fact that I was a little concerned about Tony's hygiene. I was actually out doing business. Hey, don't forget our friends at PRMG Mortgage and Greg Evans. They do awesome work for everybody in Carmel and across Hamilton County.
What about Shelly and Kyle?
Oh, they're fine.